Okay, so let's dive right into our topic. I'm going to talk about two things today. I'm going to talk about number one, good is not good enough anymore. And number two, I want to talk about this thought right here. In order to make outstanding decisions, we need to first ask outstanding questions. All right, so let's dive into the first thought. Good is not good enough anymore. As a senior pastor, I've had the privilege of sitting down with families and discussing some of the rough patches that they've been in. And I can't tell you how many times I have sat down with a husband and a wife, and either the husband or the wife says to me, I don't understand why we are having these problems. I am a good husband. And sometimes the wife will say the same thing. She'll say, I don't understand why we are having these problems or why he has a problem with me. I am a good wife. And this is part of what I launched this topic with, or this first point with. Good is not good enough anymore. A good father, a good mother in today's age just isn't good enough. You know, I remember when I was 10 or 11 years old, if you wanted to look at a Playboy magazine, you need to get a friend who can go into a gas station and get it for you, or somebody needs to have a big brother that can get one for you, or it was not easy to look at pornography. Now, my son, who's 10 years old, is walking around with a cell phone in his pocket, and me and my wife have blockers and parent controls all over that thing, because right in his pocket he has the ability to open that up and see as much porn as he wants to see, and he's 10 years old. We're just living in a different world. I remember when I was in high school, I was sitting in my history class, and a guy next to me had a Ziploc bag of weed, of marijuana, and he was sitting there measuring it to make sure that there was only an ounce in there. That was over 20 years ago. Today, everything has increased. Everything has gotten so much more difficult. When the teacher came in that day, I remember he took his Ziploc bag and threw it into his backpack. And now, if we want that same Ziploc bag, we could just go to a corner store in most states in America. We are living in such an intense culture that if we want to raise productive kids that are healthy emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, just being a good dad or just being a good mom isn't good enough. To be a good employee, I live in the Houston area, as I mentioned to you, in the Woodlands, Texas, and we hit a really rough patch when it came to oil. A couple years ago, the barrel of oil just dropped through the basement. And Texas thrives on oil. If oil is going well, if the barrel of oil is going well, then we're doing well. If the barrel of oil is not doing well, then we're not doing well. And a few years ago, the barrel of oil just plunged. And it was really hard to watch because everything was affected by it. Even restaurants were affected by it. People who owned restaurants were selling glasses of wine, whereas they used to sell bottles of wine. But these oil and gas companies had to lay off employees. And it was interesting because they had to lay off good employees. They didn't show up late. They weren't leaving early. They were good. But once again, I want to say, being good is no longer good enough. If we want good marriages, we have to be outstanding husbands. If we want to be good, if we want good marriages, if you're a wife and you're listening to me, or a future wife, you have to be an outstanding wife. You have to make outstanding contributions. A father or mother has to have an outstanding relationship with their kids, not a good one, an outstanding one. And an employee has to be outstanding. But the cool thing is that the difference between good and outstanding is not some massive leap. It's just a little bit of extra effort. I made the decision to be an outstanding husband a couple weeks ago. So this whole topic is really alive in me right now. So I came home and I was like, I'm going to be outstanding. I got home from work about 5:30, 6 o'clock, and I noticed there were some dishes in the sink. And I looked at those dishes, and I had worked hard all day. I got up early, worked hard. I felt like all the meetings I had that day were back to back to back to back. I live about 30 minutes away from the office, and so it was like bumper to bumper. I know some people, their commute is much longer than that. Some is much shorter than that. But regardless of how long or how short your commute is, it's always too long. But I remember I got home, I was tired. I looked into the sink and I saw some dishes. And my first thought was, Frankie, be outstanding. Just clean the dishes and don't wait for Allie to come into the kitchen and see you doing it so you can get some brownie points. Just do the dishes, be outstanding. And then my next thought was, Frankie, I'm exhausted. I'm going to be outstanding tomorrow. And then I laughed at myself. Do you know that I did the dishes and I timed it? It took me less than 5 minutes to go from being a good husband to outstanding. Less than 5 minutes to be outstanding. Later on that night, my son, who is 10 years old, he's, Daddy, will you tuck me in? Once again, the same decision was being repeated, just in a different context. And I told him, I was like, Luke, come on, man. Just go to sleep. And then this thought was, Frankie, be outstanding. So I went upstairs, I tucked him in. We had a really cool moment. Do you know it took me less than 3 minutes to go from being a good dad to outstanding? The very same opportunity came up the next day. I came into work and we had some staff members that wanted to run some things by me. And I'm sitting here thinking, what you're talking to me about is less important than what I had in mind that I needed to do the minute I walked through these doors of this building. And I'm like, Frankie, be outstanding. So I stared at him in the eyes and pretended like there was nothing more important in the entire world. Now, I've been focusing on this outstanding concept for a couple weeks. I have not batted 1,000, but I'm doing much better now that I'm focusing on it. And I want to challenge you to do the same thing. Here's the second point I want to talk to you about. Living outstanding, making outstanding decisions require outstanding questions. Let me give you an example. If you ask 100 people, 100 Americans in particular, because we love to eat on the western side of the globe. If you ask 100 Americans, what would you rather? Would you rather a Whopper, a hamburger, a bowl of pasta, a huge pizza? What would you rather? A pizza, some ice cream, or would you rather a bowl of salad? Now, I know there's some of you out there that you would say, I'll take the bowl of salad. But most people, 98%, they would say, give me the pizza, give me the lasagna, give me the hamburger. Most people want that. Now, let me ask you, if health is important to you, the question that you're asking yourself is usually, would I rather have pizza or would I rather have salad? If you continue to ask yourself those kind of questions, those kind of questions are hard to answer because you know you should pick the salad, but you want the pizza. So that's a hard decision to make. But if we change the question, all of a sudden the decision gets much easier. Instead of asking ourselves the question, would you rather have pizza or would you rather have salad? Pull that question off the table and replace it with this question. Would you rather, ladies, wear a size 16 dress or a size 6 dress? See, now we've changed the game. Guys out there, would you rather wear a size 44 or 34? A 48 or a 32? See, now we've changed the game. Further, watch, let's go ahead and marinate on this thought for a minute. If you are a grandparent, do you want to sit on the couch and watch your kids play, or do you want to get down there and play with them? Are you the kind of person that when you see a set of stairs, you want to just run up them real quick, get your heart rate up, and feel good for a split second? Or do you look at those stairs and go, oh my gosh, I can't, I don't want to take the stairs? See, this is the difference between a pizza and a salad. We ask the right questions, we get right answers. We ask wrong questions, we get wrong answers. And so I want to just challenge you to not get into this habit style life. This lifestyle. I read recently that 40% of a person's daily activities are performed each day in almost the same situations. So we have a habit-ridden lifestyle. For example, hopefully you take a shower every morning, but you either take a shower and then brush your teeth, or you brush your teeth and then you take a shower. You do 40% of your life, you're not even thinking about it. You're just making decisions. And I'm doing the exact same thing. I'm just making mindless decisions. They're out of habit. But if we can slow down and say, okay, I'm going to be conscious about my life, conscious about my lifestyle, conscious about my decision making. I think those conscious moments of saying, okay, let me ask the right questions. Those conscious moments of saying, look, I could be good or I can be outstanding. I believe that will shift our entire lives to a whole nother gear.